Aloha everybody, this is Dr. BethAnne, and I'm going to share a really simple exercise that you can do to empower your creative heart and to really tap into who you are as a creative being and work with that energy in your life. I did this at my last speaking event, and when the audience first came in the room, they received some sort of a welcome card that said something along the lines of, welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. And I invite you to think about, what do you want to transform in your life at this time, and what do you want to create in your life? And I wanted to sort of seed that intent before the evening got going so that it was already on their mind. Because after walking out on stage and making my opening remarks, I had them close their eyes and come into, I called it a mindful moment, focusing on their heart energy. And I again asked the question, what do you want to create in your life at this time? And what do you want to transform in your life at this time? And I asked them to flip both of their palms up, to put them on their knees and just rest them comfortably. So they were in a posture of receptivity and really receiving from themselves. And we started with the energy of transformation. And I asked, what do you want to transform right now? What do you want to release or let go of? What do you want to change? What do you want to transmute? Do you have an old story you're telling yourself and you're ready for a new story, an old way of being, and you're seeking to figure out a different way of being in the world? Maybe it's something tangible. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a behavioral pattern that you just can't break. What do you want to transform? And I gave different ideas and just different facets of transformation to give some examples of the multitude of things that they could choose. And as we were talking about that, I said, and what hand is holding transformation? Your right hand or your left hand? Up to you. This was an intuitive exercise. So what hand intuitively feels like it's holding what you're transforming? And what does that feel like to you? When you think about what you're transforming, do you have a certain image that comes to mind? Do you feel something? Do you feel something in your body? Do you have a sensation? Do you maybe just sense an energy? How does that come through for you? And we focused on that for a moment and just fully acknowledged, here's the stuff I want to change. And then I said, and what do you want to create in your life at this time? What do you want to create as you move forward in your life? Do you have tangible steps that you're taking towards a goal or a dream? Is there something you're trying to manifest? Are you trying to create a more peaceful life or a life of more abundance or prosperity? Maybe you're trying to create a life of more forgiveness and love, a life of choosing calm over anxiety, And again, I kind of walked through these examples to remind everybody that there's an infinite array of choices that we can choose from when we really begin to think about, what do I want to create? And that regardless of our circumstances, we can always say, I want to create peace or joy or abundance or whatever it is. There's always something to choose. And by default, I had them focus on whatever hand was left and think about having and holding in that hand. What are you creating? What does it look like? Do you have an image? Do you feel something? Is it a color? Is it an energy? Does it have a weight? And we went just back and forth a couple more times. What are you transforming? What are you creating? And when we had really acknowledged that, acknowledged both of those energies, I actually just had them send both of them love from their heart. And just do it really simply, where I said, maybe you just say, I love you. I love you. Maybe you just say, I'm sending you love. I'm sending you love. Maybe if you're highly visual, love comes through as an energy, or maybe it comes through as a prayer, where you call on higher power or higher source for that. But again, you do you. This is all about you and your process. And we just took another moment to just sort of acknowledge that, acknowledge the love. And I had them take one last deep breath and, sort of shake their head down at their chin and slowly bring their attention back up to the stage as I began to speak. And what I shared with them, at the very end of the talk that night, after we kind of worked with those energies all night long, and we did some other heart-based transmissions or mindful moments, as I called them, and I kept checking back, having them check back in. How does it feel right now, what you're transforming? How about what you're creating? Have you had any shifts with those things? I shared with them that this was an exercise that I use myself. I don't teach it if I don't use it, because I have to know that it works. And I use this very specifically for this talk I was giving, which took place in Anchorage, Alaska. And when I first set up the talk, it was something that I did on my own to go back to my home state and go do. And I was very excited about it, but I also had a lot of fear. I was scared, and it kind of magnified any residual self-doubt stuff that I didn't even know was there. And, oh my goodness, can I do this? Will people enjoy this? Are they going to like what I have to say? All of that mental chatter stuff. And I was like, BethAnne, this is an old story. This isn't why you moved to the island of Kauai to become an author and a speaker. Like, this is really old stuff. Do you want to take that up there with you? And I was like, absolutely not. So when I thought about the talk, and I had like any twinge of fear or anxiety, I would just think about, and for me, I was holding it in my left hand. That was transformation for me. I'm transforming old fears. I'm transforming old stories. I knew that I did not want to walk out there on that stage with any anxiety, with any split focus where I was thinking of like, do they like me? Are they receiving this? I wanted nothing to do with that. That is not what I wanted to create with that evening. So I really just sort of started to see that intent. I'm transforming all these things, and I'm not going to be standing on that stage thinking about that stuff. I'm standing on that stage fully present, because I know that I am up here with something to teach and share that has the power to change lives. I believe in this stuff because it's been working for me, and I know how I've changed. And what I wanted to create instead was an evening of connection, an evening of opening up hearts and helping people access their heart wisdom in a way that might feel new to them, or that might give them something, something that they hadn't thought of before. I wanted to create joy. I wanted to walk out on that stage and joy and be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing, I'm here. This is awesome. And I wanted to create magic, because I know that when people gather together in groups and we open our heart together as a group, whether we're all energetically together or we're scattered around the world and we're doing it together, I know that that opens space for more light to come in, for spirit to come in, for higher energies to come in, for guidance to come in, for our higher self to speak to us in that moment, because we're focusing on the heart. So I was like, I want some magic happening from this evening too. And every time I thought about the event, that is really the intention that I seeded. And it was a whole weekend of things, and the weekend was connected, it was harmonious, it was heart activating, it was joyful, it was magical, it was all the things I wanted it to be. So this works when we really allow ourselves to set the intention around it, and really empower ourselves to say, well, if I want to transform this stuff, where do I want to go? Where do I want to set my heart compass so I'm not just like wafting in the wind? I need to set my compass to be going in a certain direction. And what do I want to create instead? What do you want to transform in your life? What do you want to create? Those are two energies you can work with for anything, at any time, in any space, to empower you to remember you are an infinite being who holds infinite creative potential. And you always have a choice with how you choose to work with your heart, how you choose to work with your energy, how you choose to work with your inner world. And through doing that work, we show up in our outer world in much more powerful ways. Thank you for joining me in this video. If you enjoyed this heart-based transmission and want to know more about my work, I invite you to my website, drbethanne.com. And there's two ways that you can dive in a little bit deeper that are easy, and they are both free. Number one is to sign up for my monthly newsletter, Intuitive You. It is an intuitive living letter that always has a teaching video, writing prompts, intuitive discovery activity, and that comes out once a month, along with any updates on books and speaking events. And the other one is my free course, Finding Your Heart Magic, which you can access also through my site. Both of those can be found on my site, and that I created for anybody who is wanting to learn about their heart wisdom in deeper ways, learn the unique language of their heart, and begin to work with that energy in ways that are more specific to them. DrBethAnne.com, and I appreciate your presence here. Let's go do the thing and create the life of our dreams and be our brightest selves in this world, because that is why we are here and that is what we are called to do.